Good evening from Camden, South Carolina, at Camden Military Academy. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's Google Hangout. I'm Director of Admissions Casey Robinson, and I've got some young men here with me tonight who are going to share their stories about their time here at Camden a little bit before they enrolled here. We also are fortunate to have Ryan Kalari. He's going to be he's an alumnus, and he graduated from us in 2014, and he's back to share a little bit about what he's taken to Wofford with him from the Camden experience. So when these guys are speaking tonight, they're going to be sharing their stories, and I think you'll find that each story is definitely unique, but they all seem to have a common thread, and they all kind of have the same great conclusion. We focus here at Camden on such attributes as pride and confidence and structure and discipline and encouragement, and give these guys lots of opportunities. And these are just a few of the young men who have really taken advantage and succeeded. So before we get too far into the hangout and start talking to the guys, I just kind of want to explain to some parents what this is. I've received some emails today, and not quite sure how to go about watching tonight or interacting with these guys. So I want you to think of the hangout just as a virtual open house. We're sitting here. We're going to be answering questions that you can submit by going to any of our social media outlets. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Or you can just send us an email to admissions@camdenmilitary.com, and we will answer as many questions as we can tonight. So, feel free, go ahead and start firing those questions away, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. Just don't forget when you post that question on social media that you use the hashtag Camden Military. That's how we're going to find those questions. So make sure you type your question, hashtag, and for the older people, like parents, that would be the old #, CamdenMilitary.com. All right, so we're going to get started tonight. We're just going to let these guys introduce themselves. And guys, if you will, tell them your name and where you're from. So we'll start with, and your rank. Let them know what your rank is as well. So Austin, how about you?
All right, my name is Austin Mcdonald. I'm a captain at CMA.
From?
I'm from Lexington, South Carolina, and I've been here for 2 years.
Good. And how about you, Jack?
My name is Jack Thurman. I'm from Katy, Texas. This is my third year here at CMA. I'm a captain and company commander, and
that's good. And how about you, Robert?
My name is Robert Gaddis. I'm a first lieutenant of Alpha Company. This is my third and final year at CMA, and I am from Miami, Florida.
All right. And Ryan, alumnus, tell us how many years you were at Camden and where you're from.
I was actually at Camden for 3.5 years, from Charlotte, North Carolina. Whenever I was at Camden, I was the captain of Charlie Company, and currently attend Wofford College, and I'm working towards an accounting and finance double major.
All right. Thank you for being here tonight. Okay, so now we're going to get started with some questions, and this is a kind of a personal question for the current cadets. So think about this, guys. And Jack, I'm going to start with you. What were you like before coming to Camden, and what are you like now? How, before and after, that's kind of our theme tonight, and that's what I want you to share with us. What were you like before Camden, and what are you like now?
Before Camden, being from Texas, I was in a very large, public school environment. My high school had about 4,000 to 4,500 kids. At a big public high school like that, there's a lot of distractions. I seemed to care more about my social life and getting home and being with my friends and hanging out with them instead of things I'm supposed to be focusing on, like studying for a test, getting my homework done, things of that nature. And then, basically it came to a point, me and my mother had some, issues going on there. But, and then basically it got to the point where my GPA got so low, my parents had no choice but to, they kind of sat me down and realized, things aren't going well here. If you stay on this path, you're going to be on the verge of failing out of high school. And that was a big eye-opener to me. And basically, they mentioned, hey, you know what, maybe something's got to change. So they mentioned military school to me because they knew I always kind of had a dream of being in the military, and that's definitely, on the path I was going on. There was no way in my mind I would ever be an officer in the military. So when they mentioned military school, I was all excited, and
Good.
And but after that, and then once I visited CMA during my Christmas break of my sophomore year. I had a private tour. I didn't have a big open house, and touring the campus with my mother, my parent, and one of the admission counselors. Basically, I was kind of going around, I saw the formations, I saw the guys, and it was a big eye opener as well. I figured this is the place I needed to be. This seems like a perfect fit, and I could definitely see myself excelling here. When they mentioned about the rank and all the merits you can earn and furloughs you can earn, that's definitely something I seem to want to thrive for and have a lot of motives. And definitely my GPA went from a 2.1 to I now have a 4.3 GPA, and definitely this has probably been the biggest blessing I've ever received.
All right, great. And Robert, same question for you. Kind of tell me a little bit about what you were like prior to Camden and where you are now.
I was actually a troubled, stubborn child, as my parents sometimes like to say, which is true. My education wasn't my priority at the time. I always wanted to hang out with friends. I didn't like going to school. I didn't like waking up. Going to class, having to listen to, teachers. The whole public school environment obviously wasn't for me, as Jack had said. It's a lot of distractions there, and like I said, my view wasn't, to focus on school. I don't know why. I don't know why I was thinking at the time. But yeah, I wouldn't skip class. It's just I never applied myself to do schoolwork, study for tests, or I didn't have any strive to succeed in my education. But coming now to Camden Military Academy, that has clearly changed. I'm now a senior, came as a sophomore in the year of 2013. I'm finally graduating here from CMA. I came to CMA with at least a 2.0 GPA to now above a 3.5, and I got accepted to two colleges I wanted to go to: Marion Military Institute in Alabama and the Citadel. Make good grades, and I'm in a structured environment, so teachers care here. In public high school, teachers really can't focus with you one-on-one. There's no after-school help, and if it is, very hard to get after-school help because they have so many, people to focus on, students. And here at CMA, it's a small class of like 6 or 7 cadets, depending on what the subject is. So I can always get one-on-one if I need any help with, homework, schoolwork, or classwork, whatever the case may be. And it's very, this school has opened up my eyes and opened up the door to my future. And it's, like Jack said, it's a blessing, the best blessing I could ever receive. And I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you. Now, Austin, we're going to ask you a question. How did your parents find Camden? I mean, what kind of led to the decision Camden was a good choice for you?
Well, from originally being from South Carolina, my mom already knew about it. So, I guess my stepbrother, not my stepbrother, my uncle, he was threatened with it a couple times. So she already knew about it. But I'm pretty sure my mom's friend, she had a son who came here, and the change between before he went there and after is what really made her want me to come here.
Good. And have you seen a similar change? What was your grades like before and after?
Before CMA, I had C's and B's. I didn't really care. I didn't do my homework. Now that I'm here, I'm taking college classes, and I actually know what I want to do in life.
Good. So, all right. And we're going to switch over to Ryan for a second, and our alumnus, and taking back a few years. Again, he graduated in 2014. But Ryan, I want you to just kind of share with us, coming to Camden is a big deal, and for a lot of people, and we do hope that there's some changes when you go home. So when you went home, say on your first break at Christmas or whatever, what did you know that changed, and then what did your parents maybe notice that you had changed?
Oh, was this the first Christmas break after at Wofford, or was it during Camden?
At Camden.
Oh, at Camden. First time I came back, it was really just a big culture shock in a way for me to begin with, going to Camden. Then I always lived as a child for an unorganized lifestyle, did whatever I really wanted. My priorities were in the wrong place, which is a really common theme among most students. And it all sort of, it was a huge, like I said, a culture shock going to Camden. Everything was very organized. Everything was very, very structured, and that's exactly what I needed. And as soon as I came home, I remember I immediately went upstairs, looked at my room. It was a disaster, and I just cleaned that thing up like from the floor up. And my mom walked up there seeing what I was doing, and her jaw dropped because she did not believe for a second that I would be cleaning my room instead of going outside whenever it's a beautiful day, sort of thing. And it just sort of the mindset of everything that I went through changed whenever I went from Camden to just coming back for the first time.
Cool. And how about there at Wofford? I mean, did you pick up any good tools that you could use at Wofford? Did you learn anything at Camden that you put into use to be successful in college?
Oh, no doubt. Just sort of time management was a huge thing because my first semester at Wofford, I just had a very intensive course load because whenever I was at Camden, I took a total of 21 hours in college credits. So I was already ahead of the game in terms of the rest of my class in college. So I was just in more intensive classes off the bat. And I sort of was pressured to go into the pre-med route. And that was just because I was already so far in my studies that they felt that I needed to go ahead and start getting my foot in the water somewhere. And definitely the biggest thing I learned from Canada was time management and just to be organized and to know that at times it could be overwhelming, but that if you manage your time well and if you do your work and you keep your priorities in the correct place, that really your opportunities are unlimited.
Cool. All right. And guys, just real quickly, I want to go and touch on what colleges you'll be attending next year. I left that out earlier. So Austin, we'll start with you. What college will you be attending?
Next year I'll be attending the Citadel.
All right. And Jack?
I'll be going to Marion Military Institute next year on an early commissioning program with the U.S. Army.
All right. And Gaddis?
I'll be going to Marion Military Institute for 1 year as my freshman year and then transferring to the Citadel for the last 3 years.
All right. So all three of these guys are going to a military college for further education. And I bet maybe one of the three, I'm not sure, I can't remember, really had military college in their future when they first enrolled. Most guys that come to us typically go back to their state-supported schools, their state-supported colleges. At Camden now we have 29 states and 8 different countries represented. So we send guys back all over the country, all over the world to attend universities and colleges. So, but these guys just happen to all be going to the military schools. I did get a question from David on Twitter that says, what college connections do you have? And David, I think we may have just answered that. You know, if you mean connections as far as where kids are attending, they're typically going home because of that more affordable tuition, that in-state tuition break. But we will have a number of students attend the Citadel. The Citadel is the Military College of South Carolina. And that's not that we have a connection with the Citadel, it's just a natural progression for these guys. They get in here, they start feeling success with the military structure and the self-discipline and all of that, and it's just a, you know, if it's working here, let's let it work in college as well. All right, so we have another question coming in. Is it hard to transition from public school to CMA? And I will ask Jack that question. Jack, how hard was it to transition from your public school into Camden?
It was definitely, you know, when I first came here, it was a big culture shock, especially, you know, as soon as I arrived, you know, I met my TAC officer, who was Sergeant Major Brooks at the time. You know, he was a ex-military. I believe he was a sniper in the 101st, if I'm correct. And you know, definitely when I walked up to him and met him, he was a bit of an intimidating guy. But you know, once I got used to the structure, and I got used to hearing, you know, my platoon sergeants give orders to my squad leader, company commander, and the rest of my chain of command. You know, you just kind of grow into it. It's you know, like I said, you know, it's a bit of a culture shock when you first arrive, but definitely they work with you, make sure you know all your basic things, all the military side of it. But definitely besides the military part, you know, they're making sure you're keeping up with your grades and doing the right things.
Yeah. And, you know, for our viewers out there, if we have any prospective cadets watching, you know, I am very used to seeing prospective students who are not necessarily thrilled about the idea of military school. You know, most of the guys here, if we have 270 guys, we maybe have 30 guys that are really excited and this was their idea. But the vast majority of the guys are here because it was somebody else's idea. You know, mom, dad, grandparents, someone thought of it. And then, you know, of course, they investigated and the boys decided, hey, you know, we'll give it a shot and see if anything good can come of this. So I want to ask you, Robert, what did you think initially when your parents said, hey, we're thinking about a military school in South Carolina? Of course, you're in Miami. You'd probably rather stay at the beach. But what did you, you know, what was your reaction when they mentioned it?
To be honest, I actually wanted to come here because of my my struggles in the public high school since my dad's a retired military Army colonel. Uh, ever growing up, ever since learning about what he did, I always wanted to join the military. So when they told me about military school, I actually was very excited because I knew that I would strive in this area because it had a structured environment and it would prep me for the military and the real world outside. It molded me into a young man, going from a spoiled brat to a respective gentleman that I am now, hopefully, is from what my parents told me. First day at CMA, obviously it was the toughest. After a couple weeks, got progressive and got used to the whole structure system and how everything went here, and I love it. I have no complaints about CMA.
All right. And just a quick reminder for everybody watching, if you do have a question for us, please hit one of our social media sites. Just make sure you use the hashtag Camden Military after you type your question, and we'll make sure to get to as many of those questions as possible. So kind of along the same theme, Austin, when you grow up here at Camden, we like to talking about taking young men and developing them into men, or boys to men. Tell me a little bit about how you feel that you have grown up at Camden. What's some things that you feel like have changed to make you a stronger man?
All right. Well, I think the main thing for me is I no longer rely on my parents to do stuff for me. Before here, I would any form I would have to fill out. I mean, this is just like a simple example. I would have them fill it out. I wouldn't do it. Now I do everything. I do my own laundry when I'm home. I make my own bed. I do everything.
And that's a big part of it is learning that personal responsibility and taking action for yourself and being a leader. We feel like all young men have potentials to be a good leader, but we want to figure out which area can they have the most success in initially. And it may be academically, it may be spiritually, it may be athletically, but we want to try to find a fire in your son and stoke it and start having that success, because again, just success always breeds success, and that's what we're all about here, is offering these young men the opportunity to have that success. All right, now Ryan, I want to go back to years back when you first arrived at Camden, and looking back at that first year, your first day, your first week, did you ever see yourself actually graduating from Camden, or were you one of those guys who were like, I'm going to do it this year, make mom happy, and then I'm out of here?
Well, whenever I first came to Camden, my mom really already hammered in the idea that I was going to be there my entire 4 years, and not just because I came from a big public school. There was about 2,400 students in the entire school, and realistically, I was just a number to every other teacher that I had at that point. And then whenever I first toured Camden, I saw that there was maybe 13 to 10 students in every class, probably even less, depending on the upper level classes that you're in, and that they actually interacted with you, and if you had trouble in class, that they'd actually help you. That really made a big decision for me coming there, and it's just the entire experience of learning self-discipline and learning to be independent and to be my own man and not be able to follow in a group and to just really develop my own characteristics as a person was probably the best part of Camden at that point. But go back to answer your question, it really was sort of hammered into my mind that I was going to be there the entire 4 years, and I accepted that because I knew Camden is exactly what I needed. And I was just not disciplined. I wouldn't do anything I was supposed to be doing or do what I was told. And after the 3.5 years I spent there, I mean, the improvements it's night and day from where I came from, to say the least.
All right. Okay, and I've got a question from Jocelyn on Twitter. Her question is it hard to go home for break when you've changed so much but your friends haven't? Wow, good question. We'll throw that out to Gaddis. Is it hard to go home and hang out with people that maybe haven't changed and developed as strongly as you have?
Yes, it actually is very hard for me, to be honest. Like I said, I always wanted to be with my friends, always go to parties. Being in Miami, it's a lot of music festivals and clubs and all that. It is hard now, because now that I've changed, I'm more mature and I'm serious about my future and what I want to do in life. Having people that for their age aren't mature and always want to go out and do something, they don't relax. to me, it's shocking, going home, seeing myself, what I am now, and then seeing how they still are from how many years I've known them for. It shocked me and my parents and everyone else back home. But yeah, it was hard.
Good. And how about you, Jack? You similar for you, or describe how it is when you go back home?
Very similar. When I first started coming here, going back home and just seeing how much I've changed and how much I've matured, basically being a sophomore in high school, living on your own. I'm about 19 hours away from my house and away from my friends and family. And definitely when I went back home, I just seemed a lot more mature, compared to my old friends. But you change in a good way. You definitely learn to grow up a lot faster here. But I wouldn't see that as a bad thing. You definitely put yourself in a category of, I guess, more mature people. But for me, it's kind of like an on and off switch. When I'm here, I understand I'm here for one reason. I'm here to get to one goal. But when I go home, it's time to I can relax, and I definitely enjoy seeing my friends, and surprisingly, my friends are actually real proud of all I've accomplished here, and as well as my family.
All right. Well, I want to talk about academics quickly. That's what we're here for, is to improve the academic area and focus on education. Sometimes people think of military schools and they think of it as a boot camp or as a punishment. That's not what we are, and these guys will tell you a little bit about that a little later on, hopefully. But we want to focus on academics, and for most guys, they just don't do homework. How many of you guys out there, raise your hand, had issues turning in homework on time prior to coming to Camden? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Usually, these guys that I talk to on the admissions side, they can do very well on tests. They can participate in class. They have the smile, the charisma for the teachers. The teachers love them. But it's just when it comes to turning in projects on time, turning in homework on time, that's an issue. And especially if it counts a big percentage of your grade, it can become a very big issue. So when we work with these guys to teach them the importance of the study hall, the importance of school, because oftentimes when guys, walk in my office, school is not in their top 5 things to do anymore. It's usually behind sports and girls and cars and everything else that's going on. And we just kind of want to reprioritize some things and help these guys get back on what's really important. So my question, I guess I'll throw this one to Ryan. Did the study hall, having that study hall at night, did that help you in college, do you think? Do you still have that little voice maybe at 7:30 saying it's time to study?
Not so much the voice in my head telling me to study at 7:30. I definitely get all my work done usually during the day just because I want to be able to go out and hang out with my friends at night. But the study hall period, it really helped me whenever I first got there because I would not do any of my homework and I would just go to sleep at whatever time, 10 o'clock, wake up in the morning and have nothing done, then possibly go to school that next day in high school and then not go. But now that I have that sort of structure and the time structuring was so built up at Camden that now I wake up in the morning in college, I go to my classes, I have some gaps in between my classes, and during those gaps I don't just go back to my dorm and play some video games. I'm right at the library doing all my work, trying to knock it all out so I can go and just have fun later on in the night and not be bogged down by all the work.
All right. And Austin, how about you? Talk to me about class sizes. I think you probably went to Lexington, but tell me a little bit about how big the classes were there and your class sizes here.
Average size class at Lexington when I was there was about 30 people. Here it's more like 10 to 15. Especially as I think Ryan said in the advanced classes, they get even smaller.
Yeah, your classes here could be as small as 3 or 4 people in a class, just depending on the level you're taking. And by the way, we are all base college prep, but we do have dual enrollment, so we can take college courses here. And I think a couple of these guys are doing that. I know Ryan took a lot while he was here, and that's through the University of South Carolina that those college courses are offered, and those professors come here to teach those courses. We also offer AP courses. On a more limited basis, more people are choosing to go the dual enrollment route just because they're guaranteed to have that college credit, provided they make the good score in the actual class. So the AP exams, tend to be a little tough, and percentage-wise, not very many actually get the 4s and 5s that most colleges are looking for. So the dual enrollment route is a good way to go. Jack, tell me a little bit about the teachers here at Camden. Were there any differences between the teachers that you have here and the teachers back at home?
There's a huge difference in my opinion because back in public high school, kind of like what Ryan said, you're just a number out there, and you're in a classroom full of 40, 35 people. You're just a number. But here you definitely have that more because of the smaller classroom sizes. You have that more one-on-one attention with the teachers. You definitely have a lot more personal relationship. You can help out if you're struggling. You can walk up to the teacher after class and be like, "Ma'am, sir, I'm kind of struggling in this. May you help me out, please?" And they'll because you're living on campus, they'll be more than happy to stay with you and help you out on a worksheet or study for a test or anything like that. But definitely the personal relationship helps out a lot more because you can be a lot more comfortable with them than I guess how you'd be with a teacher at a public high school.
And our teachers here have to coach a sport and sponsor clubs, so they really engage with the students, and they do get to know the students, and the students get to know us. Staff and faculty. The headmaster has a very open door system. You can walk in and talk with him in the mess hall or in the front office. It is very much like a tight family here on the campus. And I'm gonna we'll let Robert talk to you a little bit about the brotherhood. Sometimes people compare it to joining a fraternity or something like that. So how do you feel about the friends you've made here at Camden, Robert?
They're definitely friends that I would carry on for the rest of my life, without a doubt. Not only because I live with them and see them every day, also because most of them share the same views and things that they want to do in the future that I like or that I want to do. As Jack, and he wants to join the military. We're going to the same junior college next year, Marion Military Institute. I've known him since my first day here at Camden Military Academy, and now we're graduating together, class of 2016. Met Mcdonald my second year here, which was last year, and both two guys that I definitely would continue to talk to and want to see and eventually hang out. And it's with Ryan Kalari. I think you graduated my first year, if I'm correct. And no, definitely, if anything, since Ryan's in college, I'd definitely talk to him and see if he gave me any tips if I have a tough time or whatever the case may be. But definitely, all my friends at CMA that I've made will talk to and see eventually in the future.
All right. So I'm going to ask Ryan a question. Ryan, when you first came to Camden, and maybe sometimes I hear about if the boy's not doing too well in school, you feel like mom and dad's nagging you a little bit or staying on you too much or putting you on restriction. Did your relationship with your parents change at all once you enrolled in Camden?
Yes, it got so much better because I was just not doing well in school, and that really just caused my mom stress because she was worried all the time, oh, am I going to be able to get through my first year in high school? Am I going to be able to do this next year? And it was just a snowball effect of her just progressively stressing out more and then nagging at me, always get my homework done. I would always ignore her. And even from the first time I came back from Camden on furlough, it was just a huge difference in our relationship. I just took a lot more initiative and everything, even helping her out around the house. And my grades instantly improved from barely passing classes in public high school to being on the dean's list, just because there's that focused time that you can have on your work every single night, and there's no getting around it. And just the improvement that she says that she's seen for me from day one of being there really drove me to continue to do better at Camden and to try to get better or higher leadership positions and progress my leadership abilities just from where it was at one point.
Awesome. Now, Jack, I think you mentioned earlier, that maybe you had a little mom-son issue prior to coming to Camden. Has that changed? And tell me a little bit about that.
Kind of like what Ryan said. Definitely, the first weekend I came home, or the first furlough, the first time I left, I was actually gone for 3.5 months just because plane tickets are expensive and all that. But when I came home for, I think it was spring break, definitely, instead of my parents being like, oh, why are your grades so bad, or, oh my gosh, is he even going to be able to graduate high school? It's more of, I'm proud of you. Like, I just can't believe the difference, or, your change of attitude and your motive and, that drive you have to want to do better. It was definitely something that, they were happy to see, and they were very proud of me. And things have changed tremendously with them.
Good. Now, I want to ask you guys about leadership, because, again, that's something else we talk a lot about here at Camden. And just, what type of leadership opportunities have you taken advantage of at Camden? Have you been, captain of a sports team? How many students do you lead? How's the ranking structure? That kind of thing is where I want to go. So we will start off with Austin. What's some leadership positions that you have held here at Camden?
This year is my second year, but I'm also a captain, which is very unusual. I'm the captain of the tennis team. I'm in charge of doing the yearbook, or I'm the editor, but that's basically the same thing.
And do you think those positions will help you later, like helping manage people, that kind of thing?
Yes, I really think the positions I've held here will help me with the opportunities I have in the future, because they teach you how to act and how to think. So.
All right. And Gaddis, kind of the same thing for you. What?
I played varsity soccer, but I didn't play long enough to make any captain position of the team. And as far as the ranking system goes, you have to earn it. It's not given. It's a thing that you have to earn, and it feels good when you do earn it. My first year, I went from a private to sergeant. Second year, sergeant to platoon sergeant, and then my third year, platoon sergeant to XO, first lieutenant. And it feels great to earn rank. Love the responsibility, the leadership, to be able to lead cadets and have them look up to you, and you be like their role model or idol, someone they look up to and they want to be eventually. They come back, or some they just want to keep in touch with. Only because you are their leader, but also because you live with them, and it's like that brotherhood. It's somewhat like family.
Right. All right. So we have a question coming in now on Twitter. Is it easier or harder to be on a journey of change when you're away from the comforts of home? So is it easier to change when you're away from the comforts of home? We'll throw that one out to Mcdonald.
I personally think it's easier for a few reasons. The first reason is you don't have the normal distractions that you would have if you were at home. The second reason is you don't have the distractions, but you now have a family of like brothers who encourage you to do better, and will just overall encourage you for you to do your very best.
And that's what I tell guys, and parents, that it's much easier for you to do the right thing when everyone else is doing the right thing. So whether it's grades, behavior, whatever, if you're surrounded by everyone else doing homework at 7:30, it's easier for you to do your homework at 7:30. So if that hasn't been a big priority, that will change if you choose to come to Camden. All right, somebody is asking me on Instagram, do you ever have fun at Camden? Hey, guys, do we ever have any fun? Jack, tell me some fun things that we do here at Camden.
We do a lot of fun things. Of course, when we aren't on our busy schedule. For the most part, if we don't have anything, the weekends is when you'll get most of your free time and most of the fun time you have here. But we have, like I said, this goes back to that personal relationship you have with teachers. If you know them well enough, and if they know you're a good kid, they can take you off campus. Go to Walmart, get some supplies and all that, take you to a movie, go out to eat. Casey Robinson, he takes us out to eat,
To a baseball game.
Baseball games, yeah. Because we were acting right, doing the right things. He took us out to a baseball game, took us out to eat, and we definitely had a lot of fun time doing that. For the younger guys, 7th and 8th graders, our headmaster, Colonel Bolin, his wife teaches the 7th and 8th graders. So the 7th and 8th graders, if you're in that age, they get to go out to movies, dinner, things like that. But we have paintball trips, and we have before you admit your son here at the school, you can sign him up for all kinds of different trips we have throughout the year. Florida trip, you go to Carowinds, things of that. Ski trip, things of that nature.
Yeah, we have basically 10 or 11 trips that we offer each year, and students can choose to go on those trips or not. And again, we go everywhere from DC to Orlando, Tampa theme parks, Carowinds, which is an amusement park here on the South Carolina, North Carolina border. So anyway, yeah, we do have some fun here. And you know what I tell guys all the time, this is a normal high school. You know, sometimes I get the thoughts coming from prospective students that, you know, this isn't normal. This is, you know, all boys school. But you know, I say yes, girls are evil. Girls are bad news. But no, you do have a normal high school experience. We actually work with a lot of the school districts here locally, a lot of the high schools. So these guys know girls from those schools. They know other guys from those schools.
Junior leadership.
Yeah, junior leaderships and different activities. So you know, you still have a normal high school experience here at Camden. So I don't want you to think you're going to miss out on different things. All right, so David on Twitter wants to know, what role does sports play at CMA? So how important is sports here? Kalari, let me throw that one to you.
I remember whenever it was my first and I think even second year, basketball was a huge thing at Camden. And that was just because we were making it to our conference finals. And I remember just everyone packing into the gym there and everyone just going crazy whenever we were just pretty much just balling out on the other team. And that was whenever Coach Johnson, he was coaching the varsity basketball team. And that was a really big sort of bonding moment with everyone just because everyone was cheering on the exact same team. We also have football, which is very popular. A lot of guys go out and watch the games there. Baseball's also been very good in the past. And there's a lot of people do play sports, and that's what they do during their free time. So usually during free time they have their practices and stuff. So a lot of people who are on basketball team, football team, golf team, they go either off campus or to their respective fields, and they get along with all the guys there. So I'd say it's a pretty big part of life, but it's not something where it's, if you do not play a sport, you're not going to be really accepted in the school.
Yeah, we have two options for guys with sports. You have the intramurals and you have the interscholastic. So intramurals would be things, you know, like ultimate frisbee and flag football here on campus, just where you play one group of guys against another. And then you have the interscholastic sports where you actually travel around and, you know, play against other schools, and we have our rivals just like you do anywhere else. So you have either or, but we do strongly encourage you to play something, because the more you're plugged into the school, the better it's going to be for you. You know, you won't be as homesick. You will get to go off campus more, as these guys say, you know, go out to eat more, things like that. So do engage and plug in and get involved in clubs and activities, and we feel like that's really, you know, very important for these high school guys. Now, looking back, Ryan, we're going to take you back to that first day when you arrived at Camden. Knowing what you know now about Camden, what would you have told that guy when he first walked on campus?
Probably not to be as intimidated by First Sergeant Collins as I initially was, because I remember walking in there, first thing I didn't say sir to him, and he got on me like white on rice, and I was almost crap my pants. But I mean, definitely he's one of the biggest role models I've had ever since I got to Camden. I still talk to him almost on a weekly basis to this day, and just a great role model for him, and definitely that's would have been the thing I told him, or told myself.
Gotcha. And Austin will ask you the same thing. Talking to that boy that came in the very first day, what advice or tip would you, or looking back, what would you say to him?
Use yes sir and no sir. It's probably the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, and that's something that, you know, for a lot of guys, if you're from the south, you know, the southeastern part of the country, southern part, that might be a second nature kind of thing that you've grown up doing. But we have kids, you know, again, from all over the country, and sometimes it's hard to get much more than just a yeah out of them. So that yes sir, we do take pretty, we think that's very important. You know, that's part of our daily structure. We want to develop these guys wholly, you know, so we want to talk about academics, athletics, but good manners as well. So you hold the door open for people. You don't let it slam in their face. You know, you can talk to someone and look them in the eyes when you're talking to them and shake their hand, those type things. So we're really big on just becoming a man. Got another question coming in about structure. It says they hear a lot about structure, but would you say structure is punishment? What do you think about that one? Is structure the same as punishment? We'll throw that one out to Gaddis.
No, it is not. Structure is good. Everyone needs structure in their life, most definitely. It is not a punishment. I don't see it as a punishment. I see it actually as a great thing. I like structure. It works with my situation. I get distracted easily, so having a structured environment where, you know, things are cut off to, like, your phone, video games, or whatever you know, electronics you got, and it's you're not forced to do homework. It's your choice. You know, you either do your homework, pass a class, turn and get a good grade, or you either fail. But there's that certain time given that that you know supposed to be doing your homework, but it's really up to you. But it is structured throughout the day, 24/7. The day you go to sleep and the day you wake up, it's continued structure environment.
Well, what would you think about, you know, sometimes boys do think that their parents are sending them to military school and it's a punishment. So what would you say to those guys? Kalari, we'll throw that one to you. What would you say if someone's thinking about it and the boy's thinking they don't love me anymore, they're trying to punish me?
It definitely is nowhere near as bad as what you anticipate it to be. You always think whenever you think of military school as a boot camp sort of environment. This place is far from that. It's more of a nurturing environment where they break you down in a way just by taking everything that you knew from before, not having a structured environment, and then they build it back up and then to show you that, okay, you don't need to be spending 8 hours a day playing your Xbox. There's a 2.5-hour time limit during free time that you play that. And then you have to be able to progress your day and actually be productive throughout the day. And yeah, that's
it. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on structure, I forgot to mention a few minutes ago. We do have a number of our students that come in who are ADD or ADHD, and you know, one big area for those guys is the structure. You know, once they have the structure, the fewer distractions, it goes a long way. You know, over the years, we've had young men to come in and, you know, be able to wean off medication that they've been on for years, treating ADD or ADHD. But that's something that we feel is important. And you know, for most guys, we like structure, we like competition, but we're not going to ask for it because no real man's going to stop and ask for directions, right? So you know, we want it given to us. And so when you're put in a situation and you're in that structured environment, it's easy to do the right thing and get what you need. All right, we have a question from Twitter again. Some of you had parent conflicts, but what did you do to get over being homesick? So what did you do to get over being homesick when you first arrived? Austin?
Well, I think what the school does is pretty smart. They take away your phone so you can't contact your mom or dad directly. You're still allowed to use email, but I don't really see the point in doing that. So.
Well, the one thing about the phones, we do take the phones and electronics initially, but you do get them back. We're one of the few military schools that actually allow you to have video games and cell phones and those type things. And you know, most schools, most boarding schools, not even military schools, do not allow those electronics. But we feel like it's important because these young men, you know, when they leave us, they are going out to the real world. They're going to college. They're going to Wofford, and we want them to know how to, you know, be responsible on the cell phones and be responsible with their time management. You know, because you can have a good time and still get your work done, and that's what we're trying to teach these guys as well. Again, a lot of times it's just about, you know, reprioritizing some things. All right, guys, I want you to kind of tell me in just a few words, someone who's out there, they're on the fence, their parents are kind of pushing the idea, but they're not, you know, really thrilled about it. What would you say to them, Jack? What would you say to that guy who's really kind of scared about the idea?
You know, that's a good question. Probably what I'd say to that guy is, you know, if things aren't going well at home, if things, you know, aren't doing so well, you know, you should probably be willing to adjust to change. You know, that's definitely something I did, and you know, it's turned out probably the best thing that's happened to me because I kind of said that to myself. My parents kind of said that to me, you know, before they sat me down here. They said, you know, this is kind of your last chance, and a lot of guys take this place as that. So definitely you have to make make everything of it. You know, definitely, you know, have a positive attitude, be willing to change, and be prepared to work. That'd be my best advice to them.
All right, and we have another question. Ryan, this one is for you. Share your favorite memory of CMA. Hey, that's pretty good. What's your favorite memory when you're here?
I have so many distinct memories, but definitely it was whenever I was walking off the stage at graduation, and I looked over, I saw my TAC officer, and he was just smiling at me because he just saw as far as I changed from when I first got there, and then looking over and looking at my parents, and just the look on their face of just them being proud of me and knowing that I have taken so many positive steps in my life and that I was going on to a great place where I'd be able to get a solid education past Camden, and that will contribute to me being successful in life. That was definitely my favorite memory. But in terms of memories with just like friends around, I remember one of the distinct memories I have was with John Pule and Nathan Lusk, who were two of my great friends when I was at Camden. And just I remember we were just sitting there in tutorial, and we were all just talking about where we're going to be in like 15 years, sort of thing. And everything always stemmed back to us just coming back to Camden, and just sitting in the exact same place and just shooting the breeze and talking about that. Just those little memories that you have with some friends there that really stand out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to be wrapping up soon, so I want to wish the 3 seniors here congratulations. You know, as an admissions director, it does my heart good this time of year at graduation when, you know, I knew these guys on the front end, and then I get to see what they become and watch them grow and mature here and then graduate and, you know, then turn out like Ryan. We're proud of you, Ryan. Thank you for coming out and helping us tonight. And Austin, Jack, and Robert, job well done. And
Thank you, sir.
just want to remind you, viewers, that if you want to find out more about us, please join our website or visit our website at camdenmilitary.com, or you can send me a direct email. If any email that you send from our website will come to me, or you can visit admissions@camdenmilitary.com, and email will come to me as well. So from all of us here at Camden Military and an alumnus at Wofford, have a good evening. Thanks for hanging out with us.